Welcome to Bonus Banter, where we answer your questions and talk about nothing.
Well, welcome back to another exciting episode of Bonus Banter. It's been a hot minute.
Bonus Banter.
We've had write-ins for a while, and we have not gotten into them.
Because we hate
lazy.
you.
Because, no, it's actually...
Neither of those are true.
No.
Let's be clear. Well, I mean...
I think it's at this time that I want to warn...
It's because we're a little lazy.
and tell the audience what we have been up to for the past 3 or 4 weeks.
I'll go ahead and say it. We have been working ourselves so hard to get through this book before some of us have to go back to time-specific work.
Yep. And also, there is stuff about moving involved. One of us might have to move. We're very worried about our ability to record regularly.
Yes.
And so we have made the decision, which has actually been a pretty brilliant decision, to just record the rest of this season.
Yeah.
Like all of book 3 of Outlaws of Alkenstar in a marathon. We recorded 5 episodes in one day.
One day, guys.
Over the course of 4th of July weekend. And that was sick, honestly.
It was kind of exciting to keep the energy going.
Yeah.
It felt like being 19 again.
Yeah, I
even though I regretted it the next day when I was exhausted. Yes, I'm old.
I'm looking at my episode list here. I think we started our marathon June 26th, and it was like we were recording on weeknights. Not every weeknight, but like one weeknight a week, and then on Saturdays. And then we have June 26th. No, it was the 22nd, because there was like a gap between the end of June and the beginning of June. Yeah. June 22nd was episode 81 of season 3. And then, so that was about a month ago from when we're recording this. We just tonight finished recording episode 99. So we have done 18 episodes in a month, which is astounding.
Yeah.
Insane.
In short, if you guys notice that we did something wrong, it's too late.
It's too late.
We're practically done recording.
But I think it's been good. Honestly, doing it like this has shown me why I have, ever since we changed our release schedule, there's been a lot of times where it's felt like it was harder to make the content work. And I wasn't sure what was going on, if I was just burning out or what. But doing it like this has shown me that what it actually is if you only focus on one thing at a time, it's a lot easier. So as a GM, I've just solely been focused on prepping and running. And there's the podcast concerns of making sure we got all our banter topics queued up and all these other logistical things about running the podcast. But because I've been so focused on it, it's been we play and it's exciting to keep playing a lot. And then the excitement makes the content better, and the content being better makes me more excited to run. And so the marathon starts at 81, and we're on track, end of July right now, but we're on track to finish the book 3 of Outlaws of Alkenstar by mid-August probably.
And you'll never hear from us again.
We'll still do bonus banter
Later.
because we can do that asynchronously of the recording schedule. But yeah, for context, I think we are in the latter half of chapter 1 as of release, because episode 80 was when you got to the gunworks. So that's the back third, I think, of chapter 1, maybe a little bit less than that. We just started chapter 3 in our last recording. And so, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff coming to you. And I am very excited about it.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Can't believe you guys have to wait so long to hear it, you losers.
Unfortunately. Yeah, I think the last episode we recorded comes out in April 2025.
Man, you guys are going to love what happened 3 episodes ago.
Actually, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually, that does work out. Dang it.
That's a very
Dang it.
It's a very good one. Although we haven't had many downers. All right, but to jump into the actual content of Bonus Banter,
we're going to have a discussion today about Dobte the Stripter.
Again.
Yes.
And again.
And again.
For the 5th time so far.
I have a question here from Sam in Poland, our old buddy.
Oh my God. Hi.
What is
Hello,
your
Sam.
favorite undead creature in gaming, tabletop or otherwise?
I hate them all. Next.
That you've encountered or learned about. Let's go around the horn here. Kat, what is your favorite undead creature?
Frankenstein's monster.
Ooh, okay. Classic. Gotta love it.
And after that, skeletons and poltergeists.
Yes. Fucking love skeletons.
But Frankenstein's monster is my ultimate favorite.
I love skeletons so much. Jacob, do you have one?
I will give you a classic classic monster answer. Pathfinder answer.
Okay.
I love a classic zombie. A slow one. I feel like I could take them.
I feel like there's reasons for this in Pathfinder too.
Just like I like zombie movies, I like zombie games. I acknowledge if it's fast zombies, I'm a goner. Nuh-uh, no one survives that. We're all dead.
But zombies should not be fast.
But if it's your classic zombie, nice, shambling, you got a chance.
Okay.
So just so you know, I like it. Actually, it's kind of hard to think about because if they were shambling, I don't think they'd become a big problem in the first place.
Except for massive amounts of numbers.
But like, how would they even get there? They shamble.
But like you get a massive amount of numbers and get surrounded and you're dead.
Yeah, but I don't think they would get to that.
You're undead.
I walk away from them. I love zombies. I love zombies. As far as Pathfinder is concerned, I like the witch fire.
Oh, I bet.
We've had experiences with the witch fire.
You've been on both ends of the witch fire now.
I sure have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have killed with the witch fire. I have not died to the witch fire. We handled that fight pretty well, actually. But I like the witch. Other people have died to witch fires and things I've listened to.
How vague. I love it.
Just I don't want to do spoilers.
I know. I love how vague.
10 years old. But I love the witch fires because when I found it, it was attached to a hazard, which dealt massive damage if you got hit by it, and half of that damage, if it hit the witch fire, would just heal the witch fire.
Yep.
And just, wild, unfair, not even unfair.
It was just rough.
It was just rough. And
Yeah.
I just always liked it. Just, green ghost that does fire damage. Nice, simple, easy peasy. I like it. You know what? I've never been into them very much, but I've always been Dullahans, Headless Horsemen's.
Oh, yeah. We
That's
just
pretty
had those
cool.
come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never I don't even know if I've watched a whole Sleepy Hollow movie. I just always, the idea of the Headless Horseman, that's pretty neat. That's cool. That's dope.
I agree. Drow, do you have some?
What about your most hated undead?
Yeah, Drow's not a big fan of the undead.
There's a very specific lich who is actually my character's cousin.
Uncle?
No, Marin.
Oh, his cousin, not uncle?
Yeah.
That family's weird.
Okay. Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, he was oh my gosh. I have that list somewhere. He was Brick's uncle's first son.
I remember fighting Mayrin.
Yeah,
He was
Marin
a-
sucks.
He was a bitch and I hated him.
Yep. Hatred.
You fought him with a Daughter of Urgathoa. That
And
was
mint.
nice.
Yeah.
Hatred.
That our Daughter of Urgathoa was even more dangerous, I believe.
That was a
Yeah.
fun one though. I really like the way that they look.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Oh,
really
yeah.
interesting design.
Daughter
You
of
know what?
Urgathoa I respected.
Let's go ahead and say it. Shout out to the first undead, Urgathoa.
Oh, yeah. And 1E, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about Urgathoa a lot in 2E when they're trying to clean up the image of it. You ever notice that?
Which is weird because she's a big part of the Owlcat games. At least Kingmaker. Yeah.
Well, because Kingmaker is 1E.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Well, but then again, I haven't done or looked at many adventure paths for 2E, but you're right. I haven't seen a lot of Urgathoa stuff.
If I had to pick my least hated undead, then I'm going to go for the one that I hated the least, but that I hated dealing with the most, which was whenever Dayrak fucking turned into an undead.
As a zombie.
Yes, that was the one thing that actually managed to break my heart in that game. There have been a lot of really shitty things that happened to us in that game, but that was probably the worst.
That
Yeah.
was pretty bad.
Dayrak being an undead sucked.
That
Yes,
sucked big
okay.
balls.
It was in a situation where he was going to turn into an undead no matter what. We had to stay in a city that was full of this evil energy because we didn't want him to turn into a mindless undead wherein he would attack us and could still harm us. So we kept him there. He woke up. He still had all of his cognitive thought processes, and the first thing he says is "kill me. I am an affront to my god."
Yes.
Yep.
It
That-
was gut wrenching.
Sucked.
That was about the best thing I could ask for. Because like Derek, anyone that knows, was a paladin, and I was like, oh yeah, I wonder how he's going to handle this. And that peak
I did
paladin.
it exactly the way
Perfect.
the character would have.
Owen was pretty okay with being a vampire.
Owen should have stayed a vampire,
Owen
honestly. It's just
might
Derek
have benefited
been
from it.
upset because he would have been like, bro, you can't just be a vampire. I'm your friend.
There would have been negative consequences.
Most
once
of
you left.
him not wanting to be a vampire after that was knowing that Derek would have killed him.
I wouldn't have-
Friendship would not have mattered past that.
I don't think I would have killed you, but I would have been very upset.
Derek would have eventually killed him because eventually he would have been evil. So
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's actually true. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
point. I have a lot of opinions on Undead as a GM because as a
Yes.
GM, you run it and you have to get very familiar with them. The dual hands, specifically the headless rustlers and
Those were pretty neat.
and this adventure path, that was sick. Dual hands came up in Giant Slayer, which is played by Glass Cannon. That came up in that towards the end, and that was cool.
yeah,
But the headless rustler variant here was the best adaptation.
Very fun.
That was pretty neat.
Also, we can't
So
forget
cool.
the scarecophagus.
Oh, the scarecophagus. How could we forget?
That thing was fucking awesome. The big problem I have, and I'm gonna try not to spoil it, is we've recorded ahead a lot. There are answers to this question that may or may not exist in future episodes of this podcast.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So if you think undead are interesting, there's a reason I told Psycheer to hold on to purge undead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like Undead Cowboys. The Pale
Yeah.
Stranger from 1E.
Yeah.
That's fun.
God,
fun.
I'm so pissed that we never actually interacted with one.
Who knows? Maybe one
Who
day.
knows?
I'm a big fan of skeletons in general. This goes beyond the game. In real life, when it comes to Halloween, I always say that people have like a preferred Halloween aesthetic. For some people, it's ghosts. Some people, it's like pumpkins or bats or zombies. Whatever it is, like there's a lot of different subgenres that people like, but they have a specific one. For me, it's skeletons. Fucking love skeletons. I have a 5 foot tall skeleton that's like posable that I put in my car over October. Love that. So things like in Reign of Winter, where I played a bad touch cleric, where I could raise dead, raising things as skeletons.
Rokar, fucking Syndrin.
That was sick as
Raised
hell.
my animal companion as a skeleton, unholy, unnatural being.
Yeah. Honestly, the things that create undead are equally as interesting to me. I'm trying to think of other undead. Oh, in The Witcher 3, there's a very interesting variant on basically a shadow called a Heim. That thing, I don't get scared in games as much unless it's jump scare, which I feel like is cheating,
Yeah.
because it's a jump. What really I feel like a mark of a good spook is freaking someone out without a jump scare.
Yeah.
And in The Witcher 3, there's this haunted ass house in Skellige, and you have to figure out what the fuck is going on with it. And there's this Heim, which is like a shadow-like creature. I don't really know if it's fair to call them the same thing, because you literally can't fight them until you do something to like get them to come out away from the shadow. You remember this?
I don't know if it's undead. The one I'm thinking of is the demon.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. The demon.
It's because you're in like the Vikingish village.
Yes.
And what it is because like I saw this on the little thing. It was like a little. What made me interested, I saw it on a little guide because there's so many missions you can mission that game.
Yeah.
And it's like it possesses somebody, and when it does, their shadows change. And before you even learn all this, you can look at the person who was possessed and see that their shadow is weird.
Yeah, and it's like there, and you might not even notice it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so freaking scary about it. And then when you go into the house, there's basically a light, and you don't get jump scared. It's just there on the wall.
Yeah.
It is the most unnerving, fucking scary thing that happened in recent video game memory for me. I think it's a demon there, but it's a lot like Undead and
Yeah.
other things.
Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
I've not seen that.
It's very
I want
funny.
to. I've heard it's good.
I'm surprised you haven't.
I hate the undead just as
they do.
a thing, but I actually really thought that was funny, and I'm very, very sad that there hasn't been a second, and there's not really ever going to be, being that it came out in like 2016.
You never know.
You never know. I have a fun bonus one here. Do you guys remember my homebrew thing when you found that training simulator?
No, not the thing.
The Ravener?
Yes.
It was a Ravener dragon, which is like CR19. And it's an undead, basically, skeletal dragon. And that was fun. I didn't get to do much with it because it just kind of
one-shot everybody.
Killed the hell out of you. Normally, when I started getting into GMing, I like demons-focused GM. Demons and the Abyss were my jam. But Undead have kind of grown on me a lot over the years.
I'm surprised you never got around to doing the mythical adventure path.
Wrath of the Righteous.
Yeah.
That's why I got it. That's why I was so stoked about it, because it is like demon shit, but it's also mythic. So,
Oh, I don't see how that's a problem.
Yeah, maybe one day. Whenever we retire and play through my 1E backlog, we can do that.
When we retire.
You let me make a mythic kineticist, you'll never see me again.
You'll never see me again.
I think, has anyone else got any other undead they want to throw out before we go on our next thing?
Hang on, I'm thinking. Yes, there is one. It is also in The Witcher 3. It's a vampire that Geralt finds. He opens up the sarcophagus. It's like, oh, fuck, that's a greater vampire. Vampire wakes up. Is it something year? No. Then fuck off.
Vampires in The Witcher 3 are awesome.
Oh, God, what was his name?
Rageous.
Yes.
In the books.
You like vampires?
Not really, no. I don't have a specific penchant for them. I'm not...
Alucard.
That's different.
Didn't you make sure we didn't kill the Drake?
That's different. That's different.
How is that different?
It's different.
Drow would love Vampire the Masquerade.
It's different.
Didn't you really vibe with the vampires at the ball?
It's different.
How is that different?
I swear I don't like them. How have you not fallen into the vampire aesthetic? It's like got you written all over it.
It's too
non-binary as
mainstream for
hell.
them.
You are so right, Derek. It is non-binary as hell. However, I just had a bad taste in my mouth because my first real actual concept of vampires was Twilight, and I did not like that series very much.
That's a shame.
That's a shame.
Instead, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that's fair. Valid.
Very valid.
I just didn't like it. I thought that it was interesting. I really liked some of the set design on it, but like I didn't like the characterizations.
Honorable mention, Draugr.
Oh, yeah, Skyrim, yeah. Love Draugr. That's fun. They're a nice
They're
fodder,
fun to kill.
Fodder enemy, yeah. That's pretty nice.
What's his name?
Jimmy.
No, shh. It's okay. Durnavir, the undead dragon.
Oh, yeah. In Skyrim.
Oh,
That's sick.
I still haven't done that plotline yet.
Oh, there's
Never
a lot of
mind.
plot.
I lied. There is no undead dragon.
Listen, there's so
No,
many
I know it. I
things.
know it's there. I know it's there. I just haven't done it yet.
Most Skyrim players would say Serana, but for different reasons.
I didn't jive with her quite that much.
Yeah, well, you also aren't the kind of person who wants to install the Mariable Serana mods.
No, I just tried to find a Thalmor husband.
Oh, yeah, we know. But if the Thalmor
Hate the
was a
Thalmor.
vampire, you would be hella into it.
Hate the Thalmor.
Thalmor vampire with white hair.
Oh, stop.
You
How'd
can
you-
only get so erect.
How'd you feel about the
Yes.
snow elf boss in the Dawnguard deal?
Oh my God, I loved him.
Yeah, sorry.
That's about right. Yeah.
I loved him
He's basically a vampire.
so much.
It's always the same.
I wrote a fan fiction about him.
Time is a flat circle.
Same as it ever was.
Same as it ever was. Same.
I liked the Paladin War though.
But that's more about the elf part.
What was his
Oh, yeah.
name?
Yeah. I don't know, Jimmy.
No, shut up. Hang on.
Got a real good feeling about old Jimmy Snow Elf. Sure enough, he's got what it takes. His wings.
Gelibor. There it is. Knight Paladin Gelibor. Fuck. I like him a lot. I was sad that I couldn't take him with me.
Sure, there's a mod for that.
I want it to be real. Okay.
There's a mod for that.
What? Oh,
I'm
yeah.
less. I want it to be real. I want it to be real, and I
a
want
real
him to
mod.
love me.
We'll see. Anyway,
we got another question. This wasn't from Bonus Banter. It was actually a comment, and I didn't respond to it because I wanted to bring it up here.
So you just ignored them?
Kind of, yeah. But then I
Anyway.
forgot we're also like in a recording mania right now, so it took a minute.
what we're supposed to do? Talk to our audience?
Yeah.
This is from @I'm a Bubble Man.
Hi,
all
Bubble
caps,
Man.
on
yeah.
YouTube.
It's a good name.
They are asking, wonder if I can get Jacob's feedback on Investigator. A friend of mine is playing one, and whenever they roll low on Devise a Stratagem, they feel like their whole turn is wasted. Do you have any advice? Also, any general ideas on how to better engage with the other class features?
Can I say something first?
I was going to say roll higher, but I have advice.
Words good right out of my mouth.
I have actual advice.
So-
you could go ahead.
Here's the thing.
Get good.
If you rolled that, the effect is exactly the same. You just have the opportunity to do something else. So buck up. You're fine.
The only thing is you can't attack that creature.
So here's the thing. You got options. The Investigator in combat, they're not supposed to be big old damage dealers. They have the opportunity to be, but that's not their go-to. They're supposed to be versatile. I also struggle with this, so, it depends on what type of investigator you're playing. If you're playing the medical investigator and you roll your die and you realize you can't hit an enemy, maybe go and see if you can heal a friend. If you're playing the alchemical investigator, you have a lot of options with your quick tinctures, which you can use to buff or also heal, technically. And just because you won't hit one enemy does not mean that you can't hit another enemy.
Exactly.
Because just because you rolled for that one doesn't mean you can't attack the other one without your intelligence bonus. You won't do as much damage, but you still have a chance to hit.
Yeah.
And, stuff like that. It's supposed to be, the investigator's about finding a way to be creative.
Yeah.
And that can be hard. I have struggled with it. But there's also been a lot of times where I've been able to do some neat stuff because of the quick tinctures that Chester has. As far as working with other classes, man, that's hard. I don't know. That's rough.
That's rough, buddy.
The problem is the investigator's best way of interacting with other classes is their reaction, which is clue in. You can do it once every 10 minutes and share information with the triggering creature. I think I've done this once or twice in our entire game.
I think he's asking the other class features of Investigator.
Oh.
How to better use the other things besides Devise a Stratagem.
There's other things?
Well, you've mentioned it, like quick tinctures and clue in.
Well, quick tincture is only for the alchemical investigator. I don't remember what it's actually called, but it's your methodology. But you can use that to make on-level elixirs or tools, which can be very useful. I've made very big use of them in the last few fights that we've had, particularly for healing. Because you won't know this yet. You wait a few months. But that gives you options. It's not the most options. I think at this point I have 7 a day, which is really not a lot. But it's nice. You can use it to buff. I'm looking through my stuff. Really buff up your knowledges. I learned this too late. But you can use your skillful lessons, which is your odd level skill feat for mental only stats, and I'm just using it to get lores now, and they're always at your max what you can reach with your skill upgrades. That's very nice.
Yeah, you took a lore.
Undead lore helped out so much.
Oh my goodness, yes.
For figuring out what the enemies do, and then the rest of them, I see like your basic fortitude increase, weapon expertise stuff. The other one is kind of just, stuff that buffs your skills. So also embrace being a bit of a skill monkey. And then, I don't know. It's I'm not really the best person to ask. I'll look at stuff for advice on this online.
I feel like the biggest thing with Devise a Stratagem particularly is like you're spending an action if you haven't pursued a lead. But if you roll low, basically you're not wasting an action.
You're not going to hit, so you can choose to do something else.
Versus my class where I set everything up and I don't know that I'm going to fail if I fail.
Yeah, because think about this if you were because in Chester you're shooting a gun, but if you also could be in melee, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you would be your turn would be I move up and I strike and then I do something else. If you roll the Devise a Stratagem, you already know, oh crap, I'm not going to hit, so I don't want to spend the time moving up. Maybe I want to spend 2 actions doing something else, like aid or something else.
Go ahead, reload your gun or crossbow or swap weapons to prepare for next round.
Raise your buckler.
Here's some advice. Get a gun. That way, when you critical, you know you will do the most damage possible.
Yeah, because that's one thing you've done a lot is you'll roll a natural 20.
I'll swap to the gun.
Devise a stratagem. This is what it's for. You know you have an opening, you swap to the gun, and now all of a sudden your gun is doing insane damage because of the fatal trait.
Or pull out that sweet acid flask moderate, so you can do like 4d6 persistent damage. That's nice.
You're just looking at it the wrong way.
Yeah,
whoever it is you are.
Instead of
I believe in you.
Instead of looking at it as like you're required to do an attack, like this is basically just attacking with extra steps. It basically lets you look into the future and be like, okay, I know I'm going to roll this on my attack. How do I want to do it? If you fail, then you're like, okay, well now I can change strategy here, because there's a lot of times, and not in 2E I guess as much, but in a lot of games where like sometimes you have a turn that's just kind of burnt doing some bookkeeping actions like swapping items, reloading, and so now it's like you can roll first and then know what to do, so you can do those. You never have as much trouble dealing with those bookkeeping items, or you could do stuff like aid.
And I was about to say aid's great, and if you haven't taken a certain feat, take a risk with trying to push somebody or something. There's some stuff you can do. You just gotta look through and get creative, and just look online, cause there's some smart people online.
Yep.
Like us.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I would.
I mean, I'm sure we've been referred to as idiots before.
Yeah, we generally have a decent idea of how we're doing this game. Our superpower as a podcast in terms of rules is we kind of question ourselves, and we will not hesitate to stop the show for like 5 minutes, look it up, and have a definitive, hard answer, because it's not hard to find.
And remember, you would have rolled that shit anyway.
Yep. Another thing I want to talk about is it's kind of interesting. We're talking about how we're recording the rest of the season right now. In about a week, 2 weeks from when this is coming out, the Player Core 2 is coming out. And we haven't really been affected by the remaster outside of some name changes to things.
Yeah, and we ignore them.
Not always.
Not always.
Most of the time.
But like we have used some things like in swap. Instead of having to draw, sheath and draw, you use swap as one action.
That's been a big help.
That's been nice. The refocusing stuff we've adopted more or less. There's been things that we picked up from it, but we really haven't done a lot with the remaster, because literally every character here is from the Advanced Player's Guide, and none of the classes, I don't think, from that were in Player Core 1. But all of them are in Player Core 2. And we basically are, at this point, it makes no sense to swap over to the remaster for the classes, because we're almost done anyway.
Which really sucks.
For you in particular, yeah.
I regret that, because looking at how the Alchemist and the Alchemist Dedication would have worked really would have, I think, meshed much better with Chester than what I'm getting now. Derek, can we mention what level we'll be at the end of the campaign?
No, but you can say it.
Okay.
11.
No, 12.
We're dying right now.
Well, they don't know
what level you are.
They don't. We're not that level for them yet.
We're
We're going to end up getting to level 12. The thing about Chester and the way the Alchemist Dedication works now is I won't get that high of a level item, so my bombs are stuck at 5th level, which is their second version. But with the remaster, Alchemist and Alchemist Dedication, it goes with your level, no matter what. So I could have had access to 3rd level bombs by the end of this campaign, and I quite simply just can't. And that makes me real salty, because that would have been pretty neat.
That'd be a big deal.
It would have been a really big deal.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Jacob.
Beans.
If you could do it over, would you have made Chester an alchemist with the Investigator dedication instead of an Investigator with the Alchemist dedication?
OG, I may have, but I haven't actually looked at how the Investigator dedication works, so I don't know for a fact. But I may have with basic rules. Looking at the remaster, though, I would have kept Chester exactly the same, just with the remastered classes. From what I know of them, it's not actually out yet. All we know is what the YouTubers have gotten, because they got it early.
Hey, Jacob, but, I have a question too.
Beans.
How did you know? What's the best thing to put in chili?
It's beans and beef.
And beef.
Anyway. if you could do it over again, would you pick a character ancestry that wouldn't make it so that I am running the risk every single time I cast a spell of nuking one of my party members?
Absolutely not.
I'm going to kill you.
You know what I think for Jacob it is? That one fight in the Cradle of Quartz.
Oh, where he got
just
critical.
closed himself in
I
the...
just sat out in the hallway. Y'all done yet?
No, I'm talking about the fight where you just
the
sat
ghost.
in the room with the
Yes.
ghost and they couldn't hurt you. I think all of the trouble was worth it for Jacob to have that one moment.
Be still my heart.
That was really
I thought you
funny.
said you could, not that we did. Did we?
No. We didn't just lock Chester in there, but Chester did take 1 or 2 hits from the guy that would have otherwise went to other people, and they did
Nothing.
That was really funny. I remember preparing that fight, like studying that stat block and being like, oh, this is going to be hilarious.
felt
Jacob is going to
so
be
good.
so scared, and then he's going to get hit once and start laughing.
And you know what happened?
That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
I can't win with you or you. If I heal,
what?
I hurt. And if I hurt, I hurt.
Well, maybe don't do area hurt. It only hurts. Oh wait, no, it could hit up to enemies.
Yeah, we've been fighting undead is the thing. A
Yeah.
shocking amount of undead.
Shocking amount of undead for Outlaws of Alkenstar.
Yes.
What?
Even in the Cradle of Quartz, there was
Suffer.
a lot of undead. One of the worst fights we've ever had in this show, in my personal opinion, was those stupid fucking clerics. Because it was like 3 action harm, and then Psyche was like, 3 action heal. And it was just back and
And
forth.
then they
up
laughed
and
at each
down,
other
up
and
down.
died.
Yep.
Y'all done yet? Can I
So
come
dumb.
in?
That sucked so bad.
I hated
It was
that
not a
fight.
fun
I
combat.
loved that fight. It was so funny.
There's another. This is bad. We've recorded so far ahead. There's another fight I'm going to tease for the audience late in chapter 2 of book 3 that is similar in the pain it deals me as a GM.
Oh, I know which one you're talking
Oh,
about.
you should know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
You were right up close and personal with that one.
I got the cheese like I ain't never cheesed before.
You assholes. Anyway, but talking about the remaster, I was thinking about this today. I want to bring it up briefly. Is honestly, the remaster to me for 2nd edition Pathfinder feels like when Pathfinder came out for D&D 3.5.
That's fair.
Of
Overall general improvements.
general improvements and the volume of changes. I know that like the change from 3.5 to Pathfinder was a little bit more system changes, but like the fundamental mechanics and like DC settings, like all were the same. The system changes were combat maneuvers like grappling sucked ass, and they turned it into CMD, CMB, which sucks a different ass.
Altered skills.
But and then
Not
skills,
much, but a little.
in 3.5 you could have like partial skill upgrades, and they kind of got rid of it. They did add things like favored class bonuses and other stuff like that, which still kind of technically have that. But the main things they changed when we went from 3.5 to 2, or from 3.5 to Pathfinder,
All the classes
was
got
classes.
buffed.
All the classes got buffed.
Yeah.
There were very little dead levels anymore. In 3.5, if you played a caster, get screwed. You got dead levels all over the place. And then
But if you played a caster in Pathfinder 1st edition,
Oh, dang.
it was like being a god.
You were a
Especially
god.
if you had my rolls.
Bloodlines, domains,
Yeah.
wizard schools.
it was great.
I was eating so well.
And then it feels very similar, honestly, both of the moves. And like, this is kind of a thing that makes me sad, nervous about 2E, because 2E felt like it was just kind of getting its stride before last year. And then now the remaster's happening, and it's not a new edition because it is backwards compatible, but it's effectively one because Pathfinder stuff, 1st edition, was compatible with 3.5.
You had to do more work than you did with the 2E
You
stuff.
definitely did. But like there is still some conversion. Like if you're playing a remastered class, you have the option to convert, and that is non-trivial for something like Paladin, right? So like, you know, I feel like it's a fair comparison. And now there's the new remaster stuff, and so like it feels like we're gonna take a while to convert everything and get new remastered content. Yes, I know the back catalog is compatible, but also just feels like it's going to take a minute to get on its feet again. And the main thing with 2E that I think I'm struggling with as a GM is there's not as many adventure paths in 2E that I look at and I'm like, yo, that looks sick as hell and I want to run it. Because in 1E, Like they were hot off a 3.5, and so like the adventure path presses were already like hot and spinning, and so
One of the problems I think is that they hit a lot of the tropes in 1E,
Yeah.
and they don't want to repeat tropes in the same way in 2E, because like pirate adventure in 1E,
just do it again. No one gives a shit.
yeah, but they want it to be a little different somehow. I don't know. Is this what I thought?
If
Because
they
like,
had reliable conversions, I think that would be fun.
Oh man, I'd buy the hell out of some 1E conversions.
yeah, but boy, that's a difficult.
The only
conversion.
thing that would get me to stop playing Pathfinder First Edition is if they converted more First Edition adventure paths to 2E, because those adventure paths are the reason I want to play First Edition. Rune Lords, Shattered Star, Curse of the Crimson Throne, Return of the Rune Lords. I want to play all of these at some point in time, and if they're in 2E, I would just be like, oh, you know what? We could do it in 2E. But I don't know if they will, because there's a lot of OGL stuff in them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the OGL that's going to ruin it.
They
It's
could
also-
convert a lot, though.
It's hard.
It's very hard,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because then you have to rethink every single item, every bit of treasure, and that's a lot of it. The monsters I don't think would be super difficult, and the skill checks I don't think that would be super difficult.
It's the treasure and also the things that like they assume you have access to that all of a sudden you might not.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's what fans
Ring
are
of
for.
resistance, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. But I that's the main thing that would convert me over full time to 2E.
You say that, but there are actually a couple adventure paths in 2E that I would be interested.
There are, but here's the thing: is like there's so many 1E ones,
Yeah.
and I get that it's by virtue of it being out longer, but like the percentage of 1E adventure paths that are published that I want to play is higher than the percentage of 2E ones. I can tell you
yeah,
right now, I have no interest in running the first adventure path because it's rough in terms of it was still learning 2E.
Yeah.
Extinction Curse, I'm kind of interested in. Not super though, but like the main ones I'm interested in, I guess the other problems I listen to shows is what is the caveman one? Quest for the Frozen Flame.
Oh.
Yeah, the good news
Caveman,
is the
caveman.
rest of us, except for me, for like maybe 20 episodes, haven't listened to that
Yeah.
one.
But it's Quest for the Frozen Flame.
I think
Blood Lords.
No, I've also got no interest in it.
Bloodlords I would want to play.
Blood Lords for sure. Outlaws Alkenstar, but we're doing it. And then honestly, other than that, there's
I'm curious about Strength of Thousands.
I'm curious about it, but I'm not excited about
wanna
it.
play
Rise
the-
of the Ruby Phoenix. That's
Just-
one I've heard is good. Or
That's
whatever.
one I do want to play, but that's a high level one.
And then the high level one isn't so bad now.
gods.
We've gotten to high level. We know how to handle that.
Yeah.
And then I also want to try out the spirit one. The one with the new culture, the Japan-based culture.
Season of Ghosts.
Season of Ghosts.
That's
sounds
definitely one of the
fun.
newer ones, but there's like the
And man, I want to see Gorham die.
the new
Yeah.
I know
stuff.
it's
Yeah.
a bummer because I love Gorham, but I want to see Gorham die.
But like here, let me just
Because
look
that
at this.
happens.
Sad that it was an Ioma Day.
Not
It
Gorham.
happens in the adventure path.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised you said you said I suppose words.
Wow.
Northern
But, like,
could have died.
There is no amount of hatred in my heart for Norgriber that is not vastly overshadowed by just the disgust I feel whenever I hear somebody talk about Ioma Day.
But here, I'm actually looking at this. Let me list the ones I'm interested. There's 17 2E adventure paths out or coming out. 7 Dunes of Sandpoint, sick as hell.
Oh yeah.
Sandpoint, James Jacobs, my beloved. Seasons of Ghosts, awesome. I think James Jacobs is also in that one. I cannot remember.
Yeah.
Kingmaker doesn't count because it was 1E. I'm going to reduce it down to 16.
That's fair.
Sky King's Tomb, I'm going to call that half because it's dwarf, but I knew it was supposed to do drow stuff, and I think it got rewritten a little bit.
Fury.
And then Strength of Thousands, I'll give another half because it seems interesting, but I'm not, 100% on it. That's 3. Bloodlords, Outlaws of Alkenstar, Quest for the Frozen Flame, and then Fists of the Ruby Phoenix, I think are the main ones I'm interested in. So that is 7 out of 16. Pretty good.
Gorham dies.
If that's not on this list yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Low.
But like stuff like Stolen Fate,
War God, death be
Gatewalkers.
upon ye.
I like Glass Cannon, but like I'm not super into Gatewalkers, I'll be perfectly honest. I like their stuff. Curtain Call, these newer ones, it's just nothing has sold me. Agents of Edgewatch. And honestly, Abomination Vaults I think is cool, but I think it's cool as a Emerald Spire mega dungeon thing, not as a adventure path. It doesn't fit that bucket for me.
It's not a lot of story.
Exactly.
There's little details in it It's very self-contained. Everything in it happens, at least as far as I've played, happens in one town, except like the intro where you meet everybody and then you get into a cart and you go to that town. And there's really cool stuff in it, but it's less grand than other things. Like I entered the Abomination Vaults, I think just shy of whenever we went on the second kiss the first time. So there was a lot of really in-depth intrigue, and there was a lot of purpose behind the game that I was playing. In the Abomination Vaults, there is less purpose because it's taking you to a new town and expects you to be super invested in saving it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Looking at Wardens of Wildwood, I think that looks kind of interesting.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just curmudgeon-y.
I kind of like the way Stolen Fate looks as well, simply because the Hero deck has always interested me. There was an archetype in 1E that I thought was pretty fun looking, because it was basically, hey, you want a chance for your spells to be super powerful or get really weak, draw from this deck.
But here's just the first edition Pathfinder Adventure Pass, not even the 3.5 stuff, which also has some bangers. Council of Thieves, Kingmaker, I'm reading them in order. Serpent Skull, Carrion Crown, maybe. Jade Regent, maybe.
Serpent Skull, I would say, is a maybe.
But Serpent Skull has a great first book. I guess you're
Only
right.
one book.
But still, like, there's no, not interested yet for me. Skull and Shackles, Shattered Star, Reign of Winter, Wrath of the Righteous, Mummy's Mask, Iron Gods, Giant Slayer, Hell's Rebels and Hell's Vengeance, Strange Aeons, Iron Fang Invasion, which I still think is really interesting. War for the Crown, which I also think is super interesting. You would just have to go into it with the right mindset. Return of the Rune Lords, Tyrant's Grasp. All of those are like...
What was War for the Crown?
That's like the one in Taldor with like a lot of like social stuff. It came out after Ultimate Intrigue. So like if you came in the right mindset, this is going to be like role play heavy.
Being a vigilante, and that was apparently very fun.
If you like the role play, you'd probably love that one.
That's like, it's like the Game of Thrones one, basically. So like a lot of intrigue and role play stuff.
Oh, I played that one.
I believe,
Some
I
of
was
it,
about to
yes.
say, I
Played a
thought
little
you
bit
had
of it.
played a little bit of it.
Yeah. And then like all of those are fucking bangers.
Yeah, there are about maybe 3 to 4 that you mentioned that I was been like, I could pass, but I would still play in a heartbeat. Then again,
Jacob would play any adventure path in a heartbeat. Let's just clarify that. I don't think you'd care if it was good or bad.
Ruins of Aslan was really fun.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah, but like there's so many bangers, and this is the problem. That's why I'm never going to be able to quit 1E ultimately. It's just the adventure path. I like 2E as a system, as a GM, way better, but I just can't quit it. That is to say, I like the remaster for 2E. I think it's doing good things. It's just going to take some time for it to come into its own. But with that being said, I think that's about it for Bonus Banter today.
Yes,
No more
questions
bonus
if you want us to
banter.
talk more.
Yeah, getting close to finishing up our season 3 recordings, but we got a lot of fun
then
content.
We're going to disappear forever.
We have bantered the bonus.
What's actually going to happen is we're going to stop recording and play a lot of home games for about 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, thanks guys for writing in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks for your questions, everyone.
Bye.
Remember to leave your offering at my altar. I am the highest rated local deity.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Bonus Banter. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing us. If you would like to submit a question or comment for Bonus Banter, please use the Google form linked in the episode description. If you want to see more from us, check out our website, thirdgallon.com, or follow us on Twitter. We're at thirdgallon, that's THIRD gallon. We are also on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook with the same handle, at thirdgallon. We also publish a video version of this podcast on YouTube, which you can find on our channel, The Third Gallon Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, check out our Ko-fi page. You can find us at ko-fi.com/thirdgallon. That's ko-fi.com/thirdgallon. The theme music for Bonus Banter was composed by Alexander Nakarada. You can find more of his work at serpentsoundstudios.com and support him at patreon.com/a-nakarada. That's patreon.com/ANAKARADA. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.